Any discussion of the right to bear arms has to take note of the Second Amendment. And any discussion of just who's bearing arms has to take note of the growing ranks of women. Two reports now. Tracy Smith will be along shortly, but first, here's Anthony Mason.
At the heart of the debate over guns in America is a single inscrutable sentence, the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights.
The wording itself is unusual, isn't it?
It's unusual, it's short, it's clogged with commas, but there's a...
Michael Waldman, who heads the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University Law School, is the author of a biography of the Second Amendment.
The Second Amendment says, a well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed. What does that mean?
The most disputed clause in the Constitution is the phrase about militias, which were a great concern when the Bill of Rights was written in 1792.
At the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, there was a very big controversy about how to allocate military power.
Nelson Lund, professor of constitutional law at George Mason University, says the states feared the new government would try to disarm the 13 state militias, which required every white male over 16 to own a musket.
The Anti-Federalists were very worried that the states were being deprived of their power, would be deprived of their power to resist federal tyranny.
The militia, sir, is our ultimate safety, Patrick Henry argued. We can have no security without it. While guns were commonplace then, so were gun regulations. New York and Boston prohibited the firing of guns within city limits. And in the notes for the Constitutional Convention, Waldman says,
there's literally not a word about it protecting an individual right for gun ownership for self-protection, hunting, or any of the other things we think about now.
You know, there's one side that believes that this amendment refers specifically and only to militias.
Well, I know people say that, but it just can't be true if you look at what the words say.
Yeah.
It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms. It does not say the right of the states or the right of the militias. It says the right of the people.
The debate over the Second Amendment came to a head here at the Supreme Court in 2008 in a case filed over the Capitol's gun laws called District of Columbia versus Heller. In a 5-4 vote, the court affirmed an individual's right to keep and bear arms, striking down D.C.'s ban on handguns in the home. The inherent right of self-defense, Justice Antonin Scalia wrote in the majority opinion, has been central to the Second Amendment right. But Scalia added, the right is not unlimited, also leaving room for gun regulation.
Is that a continuing gray area?
It is absolutely a continuing gray area. It is absolutely a continuing gray area.
Another gray area is how the court might rule on future Second Amendment issues after the sudden death of Judge Scalia in February.
You know, a lot depends on who replaces Justice Scalia.
Fire at will.
This is Tracy Smith. You might call it girl power. Women are the fastest growing group of gun owners in the U.S., according to the National Shooting Sports Foundation. And this is typically their weapon of choice, a semi-automatic handgun. Lightweight, accurate, and so simple that practically anyone can learn to use it. Woo. In states that allow it, a handgun has, for some, become the must-have accessory.
Why do you carry a gun?
Personal protection. I've got 2 kids. I just feel safer having it with me.
Can you show us where you carry it?
I have a purse on my hip in this holster. It's right here in the front pocket. I carry it on my person.
It's pink.
It is pink. I'm a girl.
Turns out most prefer basic black. And since more women than ever are taking up arms, there are gun stores that cater to women, like this one in Shawnee, Kansas. The name on the sign says it all.
Do you get a lot of women who come in and say, I want something that slips in my yoga pants?
We actually do. We have a lot of women that come in and say, we don't use a belt. So how do I carry my gun?
Becky Beaker and her husband opened the store in 2012, selling things like thinner, lighter guns and purses with handgun compartments.
Where does the gun go in this guy?
Dedicated pocket on the back, and it has the 2 zippers, so you can access the gun from either side.
And these are for like a fancy night out.
Right, it might be date night.
Are these popular?
They are. More popular in summer, of course.
Wow, okay. There you go.
Beyond all the lace and leather, Becky Beaker is also selling readiness.
There are people out there who will say, if a woman gets a gun, it's more likely it'll be used against her than she'll use it in self-defense.
That's a difficult one. But I'll tell you, if somebody wants to come in here and buy a firearm, and I think it's going to be more of a threat to them until they're trained, we won't do it. The truth is that everything I sell here is either for recreation, in which case, please, use it all you like. Use it more than you like. Or it's for self-defense. And I hope that no one ever has to use it for self-defense.
She knows what that feels like.
4 men selected her and her business to be robbed.
In January 2015, 4 armed robbers opened fire at the original She's a Pistol store, killing Becky's husband. She says she survived only because she shot back.
2 of the 4 robbers are still in critical condition.
I made that choice years ago that if I was pushed to that point, I was comfortable pulling the trigger.
But did you ever really think?
Of course not. You never think you'll have to use it. We cannot depend on a third party, be it our husband, our father, a police officer, anyone else, to protect us. We have to take that responsibility on ourselves.
Fire!
So for women like Latita Ivory, target practice has become the new knitting circle, where women train for a day they pray will never come.
How's it different than taking a yoga class together?
I can't do yoga. If I get on the ground, I ain't getting up. I had a knee replacement. I'm not getting up.
But shooting?
Oh, yeah, I can do that.